Yo, motherfucking yo. How you living? How you feeling? How you doing? Like, comment, subscribe, and share right now before you even do anything, just to give us some love, because we love y'all. So love us, okay? And we're diving into this. Like, we didn't even prepare. We just dove right into this, okay? Quarterbacks and tight ends of the NFC conference. That's what our video is today. And yeah, we're gonna talk about Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, all those players. Boys,
every single one.
Just those guys.
Yeah,
that's it. That's strictly those players. We also, if you want to talk about Rob Gronkowski a little bit, we're going to do that. So, without further ado, no more words. Cut to the intro.
Let's go.
I said, baby, I am not the one to play with. Ain't the type to give up. I'm driven and motivated. I just want some recognition and some compensation, but this ain't about the money and it ain't about the fame. I got lightning in a bottle. I think I just found my perfect sound. Can you see the fire in my eyes? Bitch, it's burning out. Lightning in a bottle. I think I just found my perfect sound. Can you see the fire in my eyes? Bitch, it's burning out.
We really just dove right into that. Yeah. Let's get it.
I mean, that was all you, but I'm not protesting.
Right. Well, yeah, we kind of had to do it, though. I mean, I was trying to get this ball rolling, you know.
Yeah, let's keep it rolling.
We're back, though.
Back better
let's
than
keep
ever.
rolling. Got the ball rolling. Keep rolling. Quarterback, tight end. We're back to back with quarterback, back-to-back. Hey, quarterback rankings. There's a difference here with Alex and Brandon having Kyler Murray at 1. I have Russell Wilson at 1. Yeah, this is right here. My explanation for one, obviously the play calling that they had wasn't really in favor of Russell Wilson as a talent, so that's kind of piss poor from last year and years previous. But there's a chance that it changed this year. Is there not? No shot at changing.
I hope there's a change. I'm with you on that. I think Russell Wilson could easily be this quarterback.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he could, but if
easily.
You think they're going to go away from that run-heavy approach?
There's a hope.
Pete Carroll get fired? I mean, I don't hope that because, fuck the Seahawks.
Well, fantasy speaking,
I think there's a chance that they do that. And last year, Russell Wilson finishes, quarterback 3? Even without a high-octane passing offense. Say they shift.
Oh, yeah, it's a shame. If they used him like an actual quarterback, he'd be nuts. But
he'd be perennial quarterback 1, possibly, besides last year, obviously Lamar Jackson. But this year, I mean, he was a quarterback 3 last year. There's no better than that. You have Mahomes and Lamar Jackson in front of you. Say they bump their passing volume a little bit.
You also got a talented Kyler Murray, who just acquired DeAndre Hopkins.
And is in his second season now.
I think Hopkins is warranted. It's definitely warranted, but I just don't agree with it. Kyler Murray, yeah, he's a good talent.
I want to point out, points per game wise, Prescott hasn't beat.
Has who beat?
Wilson.
That's fair, and I like Dak Prescott. I was going to talk about him in a second. Do you want to talk about him right now?
Unfortunately, he's very high-powered offense. I think that's about it.
Yeah, I would say Dak has the best chance of uprooting. I mean, if you want to say Kyler or even Russell Wilson, I think
Dak is my dark horse quarterback 1 this year. There's a chance he could be a quarterback 1.
I mean, is he dark horse though? Because he was number 2 last year.
Well, I don't think people are discussing him with Lamar Jackson,
I guess that's fair.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. He's not getting drafted up there.
I think. That's that take saying he would end up above Mahomes and Lamar, hell, that's dark horse. And, I mean, I could see him pulling it off.
It's dark. Say it's dark.
I feel like it's only dark horse because people are dumb.
That's fair. But, I mean, what are we basing our entire rankings on? Are we making opinions based off the public's opinion, or are we making opinions based off our own opinions? I mean, we're making our opinions based off of public opinion. If that makes any sense.
As far as I'm aware of, I don't really take into account how other people think.
Well, that's what closed-minded people do.
I like to
And
hear
stubborn.
the
And
outside.
stubborn people.
I like to hear the
I-
outside opinions. I think
like
it
hearing-
enhances
What does that have
your
to do
own
with
opinion.
your own personal rankings?
I mean, public opinion and just opinions of other people in general tend to influence people's opinions that listen. It's just general to have another human's word impact your thinking and your thought process and
Yeah.
Oh,
everything.
sure, but here you are literally saying you're going against that grain, so I have honestly no idea what point you're trying to make here.
Well, yeah, sometimes you pick your battles and what you want to agree with the public on. You
This
don't
is a
agree with
very
them.
dumb argument. Let's move on from this.
There was no argument. I was just saying you have to sometimes listen to the public. And Alex, you don't do that at all. So explain to me why you would like Kyler above Dak and Russell Wilson this year, Alex.
Go Murray. It's
That's
that
why
second
you
year
gotta
breakout,
listen
man.
to
It's that
public.
second year
Second-year
breakout. I mean, he was better than Lamar year one, and like they just added him. He's got Drake for a whole season now, probably. He's got DeAndre Hopkins now.
And he's shown, I mean, obviously running.
He had a solid rookie season. He showed
ability.
improvement. And
Expert analysis.
that's a thing, like second year jump from your.
I mean, the man almost had 100 rushing attempts.
I mean, all right. The way I look at it, he had 18 points per game last year. You know, Dak had 21, and Kyler was a rookie. I'm doing it. I'm putting him one.
Yeah,
Now,
I like
if we're
that.
talking about sophomore year jumps, I mean, he's also sophomore year slump. Let's be real. Baker Mayfield, got Odell. Everybody had high expectations for him. What happened to that?
Odell's been
I mean, I
declining.
think there are specific things you could point
I'm just
to
kidding.
as to why
Fantasy-wise, declining.
For the
as to
year,
why
though.
Baker struggled last
But you didn't
year.
for the year.
Huh?
I mean, yeah, there's reasons that you can look back and project on things that have happened before and be like, oh, this is the reason why Baker didn't succeed last year. Before the season, I'm sure neither one of you guys said Baker Mayfield's going to have a shitty year this year.
I didn't like him personally, but I didn't think he'd do as bad as what he did.
I didn't really have an opinion on him.
Well,
Thought
when
he
you
had a
get
solid
a
rookie
player
season,
like
but
that,
I haven't watched a Cleveland Browns game in a while, so I can't really give an accurate opinion on that.
how many Cardinals games did you watch this past year?
A couple. I watched the Niners games, and he looked good in those. I mean, to his credit, the
No,
Niners
that's
were
fair.
obviously a stellar defense.
Yeah,
Fam,
it's fair. I saw Russell Wilson regardless. So let's move forward to number 4. Where
that's
me and Brandon
also
agree
fair.
on Matt Ryan.
No, you said I'm going with Wilson. I said that's fair. I originally was going to put Wilson number 1, and then I said, fuck it. Kyler.
Let's go against the grain. There is no grain for you, Alex, so let's just be real with that statement right there.
No,
Okay,
because I'm
number
just
4.
my
Matt
own
Ryan.
personal opinion, you know?
Yeah.
That's how
Matt
I feel
Stafford.
these rankings should go.
Matt Stafford, Matt Ryan, the Mats. Why is
Yeah, the
Matt
Mats.
Ryan, me and Brandon, for 4th quarterback in the NFC? High passing offense. You've seen it last year. Matt Ryan is not a scrub either, and he has Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones, and we lost Austin Hooper, which kind of hurts a little bit, but Hayden Hurst isn't a scrub either. You get Todd Gurley, who is a decent receiving back, I would say, on par with Devonta Freeman from last year. And, yeah, I think it's a beautiful recipe for Matt Ryan. And the division, within the division, you're just going to have, like, your defense sucks so bad. You're going to have to be shooting out every single game within those division games. But, yeah, Matt Ryan is also another dark horse per se for QB1.
Dark horse
For me,
QB1,
I'm
you
not
said?
saying slim chance. Hey, man. I did indeed, yeah. Shoot for the moon, aim for the stars. Shoot for the moon, fall upon the stars. I don't know how it works, but Matt Ryan might be a star this year.
I don't know if I'd want to fall on a star. That seems pretty dangerous.
Painful.
I think
It's fine. You'd be dead long before you hit it. Sorry.
That's true. It'd pretty much just be like particles
You'd burn
of
to death
my ashes
long
hitting
before.
the
Yeah,
star.
really.
Really,
your
I
ashes
drift
would
off
probably
into
just
space.
vaporize.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, you'd die, you'd suffocate before your body even got vaporized. So it's all right, Brandon. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Tom Brady behind Matt Stafford, and Ed and I have followed through 3 picks in a row. Look at that.
That's weird.
We can't be doing that. I'm going to change this. Tom Brady, you're dropping. No. I like Tom Brady
No,
this year.
yeah,
I think he's got, like you said, for the past two quarterbacks, Tom Brady's got that dark horse ability to, I don't think, finish as a QB1. I don't think he'll have that ability this year, but I do see him landing top 3 of the division. Like 3rd, 4th. I could see him sliding up.
This is my breakdown with Brady, okay? So, first of all, the GOAT. Can't really bet against the GOAT. Let's be real here. Second of all, Jameis Winston last year averaged more points than Drew Brees. Obviously, he's only 0.16 points more than Drew Brees in fantasy. But Winston threw 30 interceptions last year. Now, obviously, that came with a ton of passing attempts. I think he led the league last year in passing attempts, which obviously is another thing with Jameis Winston that Tom Brady was not going to lead the league fast enough. And the reason why Winston did last year is because he had a 30 interception, so he's playing catch-up the entire season. Tom Brady's not going to do that just because he's smart with the ball.
Yeah, as you basically said there, I don't think Winston is near as conservative as Brady will be. I think part of what made Winston appealing from a fantasy standpoint was because he never thought, I shouldn't make this throw.
This is true, but he also lost 60 points while thinking that as well.
Hey, man, gunslinger mentality benefits you sometimes.
And I think it would be neat to quantify the aggressiveness that kind of helped Winston's success in fantasy last year. Like with 30 interceptions, obviously comes positive plays in which fantasy points perform. But I mean, think Tom Brady.
He finishes QB3 last year. He was 4th in points per game. I guess 5th if you want to count the Stafford's games. So, hey man, worked for him. Not on the field though. I guess.
Speaking of Tom Brady, yeah, almost. He almost got paid, but didn't. Yeah. So let's have Alex talk about one of his quarterbacks, maybe like a Drew Brees. Talk about Drew Brees, Alex. Why not?
Solid.
Man, a few words.
Solid.
Yeah. That's
got the best receiver in the game. He knows what he's doing. The arm strength is declining a little bit. That gives you a little bit of pause, but I don't really know if he made all of his money through like deep passes last year. So
he did not.
I feel good about him because I should say like a lot of these quarterbacks are pretty similar. I mean, like the maths were pretty close. I gave Stafford the edge just because. And like Brees, Wentz, Brady is kind of like a toss-up to me. But, Brady's going to a new team. And, yeah, I mean, his weapons are so much better. But we'll have to see how he adjusts to that. Wentz is – who knows what's going to happen with the Eagles. I'm pretty sure their receiving core is still just going to turn into a bunch of pumpkins regardless. But, hey, I'll put them up here anyway. And then, Brees, for the most part, is returning a very similar team, except they upgraded the receiver a little bit. So.
The only thing with Drew Brees that I'm kind of wary about is efficiency numbers. Obviously, I talk about it all the time. They fluctuate very often. And last year, he was number 3 in red zone touchdown rate. So every 3 passes he threw last year, it was a touchdown.
Do you know how he finished in previous years with that number?
I know I only can go back one more year. I could have went back more, but I only went back 1 year, and it was 25% the previous year. So every 4 passes, it was 1 touchdown.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about consistency with him just because, he's the NFL passing touchdown leader for a reason,
Yeah.
He's fairly good at his job. Like, my biggest fear with him from a fantasy standpoint is, you've seen the arm strength decrease a little bit. Sooner or later, that age is going to catch up with him. Same with Brady, though.
I agree. I like the Saints offense this year, but I like Tampa Bay offense more. And I went with Carson Wentz above Drew Brees in my ranking solely to the fact that Carson Wentz has wheels. And I believe in Jalen Reagor if he sees the field. I believe in Sean Jackson if he sees the field. I believe in Miles Sanders' ability to catch the ball if he sees the field. Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz, solid 2 tight end combo. I mean, I just like the weapons that Philly has if they play, obviously, compared to Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. Well, that's cool. I would prefer.
I think you got to give the edge to the Saints' weapons there, though. I mean, Rager, I'm a big fan of him, but he's still a rookie. Deshaun's not going to play 16 games, unfortunately. It's just not going to happen. They have the best receiver in the league.
Well, no, I know the weapons in Saints are better, but the wheels combined with the weapons that Carson Wentz has, plus the division is fairly poor.
I don't know if the wheels really benefit him too much from a fantasy standpoint. He doesn't really try to run as often. This isn't like when he was a rookie.
Well, I know he's not Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's more mobile than Brady or Brees because those guys are freaking stashies. But I just like
20 points at the end of the year added to your total. I think it's better than what Drew Brees going to get 4 points. Yeah. Then you can take every ounce of rice and just add to his points. He got how many? Wait, what? 6.5 from Wentz last year?
No, I was making a joke at Brees.
Oh, okay. All righty. Well, Brandon, you have any comments on those players that we just talked about?
No.
Why do you sound so down? Wow. Darius.
What?
Okay, breaking news. Darius Geis just got arrested on domestic violence charges.
Oh, that's not. What are you doing, buddy?
Wow.
Darius Geis is off my radar in redraft. Get him out of here in Dynasty. Breaking news.
I never even ranked him in these.
Oh, speaking of which, let me change that real quick.
We could actually. Where did you guys have him?
We had him at 16 apiece, but not anymore.
No, not at all. Bryce Love season. Did I call Bryce Love season?
Antonio Gibson. Oh.
Antonio Pollard.
One count. Oh man.
Yeah. All right. Let's forget.
A felony count of strangulation. That's just not.
Wow.
Oh, he's got to get.
On-board reactions.
Wow, he is cut. That's wild.
He's arrested. He's arrested. He's got bigger problems.
That's sad. That's fair. All right.
That is not cool. But.
Now, let's move on to tight ends. Let's talk about Darius Geis next episode, if you would be so inclined.
I feel that.
Tight ends. George Kittle and Zach Ertz, number 1 and 2 across the board.
Not a lot of
debate. What I got to say about George Kittle, I know Alex doesn't like this, but I think George Kittle is worthy of a second-round pick this year. I think he is. I think he should be drafted as a tight end 1 this year. I think early on, his schedule that he faces is just going to be on a different level than anybody else's. I mean, he starts the season off against Arizona, the Jets, the Giants, the Eagles, and the Dolphins. That's 6 games in a row of at least 15 points. Don't quote me on that. But George Kittle, at the beginning of the season, if you just draft in the second round, he goes off for the first 6 games. So you can flip him for something great because, obviously his schedule's not going to be cake the entire season. But the first 6 games like that, that's flippable. I would take that with the second-round pick because then you could flip him possibly for a second-round pick from a player that already got drafted. George Kittle is not going to bust. He's not going to bust. He's bust-proof. Let's be real.
George Kittle is the tight end I'd go after in the second round.
100%. I will be targeting him in most of my leagues this year. I think he's worthy of a second-round pick.
I won't go out of my way to get him, but if I'm feeling comfortable with where I'm at and what my next pick looks like, I'm going to take him.
If I end up with a late first and I am sitting there with Josh Jacobs or Miles Sanders on my team, I'm not taking George Kittle right there. You need to double up on running backs because I just don't like the talent there. But say I get a Alvin Kamara, pick 4 in the first round. I'll take George Kittle in the second round all day long. Alvin Kamara and George Kittle, there's just a round out. You're starting lineups. The first 2 picks, taking that all day. All right. What do you guys have to say about George Kittle? Alex, I see you smirking. Let's hear it.
I'm actually not smirking at that. I'm smirking because I just watched the Penguins lose. And now they're done.
Valid smirk.
Out of the qualifying round. Fuck the Penguins. Let's just get that out. They lost to the 12s. No, I understand your argument. I just, I wouldn't take a tight end there. I don't think it's a league. I don't think it's a team-busting decision by any means, and I agree that he's pretty bust-proof. But you can have him.
I think can bring me to a 6-0 start of the season, and then I can
If-
flip it for something. Take me to the
If
championship.
by some reason, like, I had, like, if I had, like, the number 1 overall pick and, like, or, like, you know, a high pick, and at the end of round 2, every running back I wanted was gone, I would consider it. Because I think with the receiver depth, like, there's a lot of dudes that I feel are
That's fair.
pretty similar from rounds, like, 2 through 5. So if every running back that I had, like, marked in that round is gone, then all right, I'll think about it.
Now, what's the exception of wide receiver you'd be willing to take wide receivers over George Kittle? Like, where's that end at? Because you're definitely taking Michael Thomas, probably Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill. Where's it end then?
I don't know if those guys would be. Honestly, I don't know. I would take D-Hop over him, just off the top of my head. Other than that, I couldn't really give you like a very accurate description there. That would just be like
Julio.
You know, I guess
You got
just
Julio
depending
going in the
in a redraft. Yeah,
You're taking Julio? That's fair. I would take Julio over Kittle. I would take Kittle over Hopkins. That's the way I'm going. And everybody else in the first round, like the wide receivers, Devontae Adams, Michael Thomas, will obviously take it over Kittle.
looking at my rankings, I mean I take Thomas, Julio, Adams, Hopkins, but once you hit like Chris Godwin, I'd probably lean Kittle because at that point I feel like there's a lot of similar dudes that I could just get like in the few later rounds. Really, it's running back with me because I don't have to really say this anymore, but you know I'm taking running backs in the first couple rounds. However, if there's a run on running backs and there's no good ones there, then fuck. I'm not reaching for like I don't know what running back I'd reach for at the end of the second round, but it's not happening.
I agree.
I'm not taking Chris Carson at like pick 23.
Yeah. If I have to choose between, say, a Joe Mixon in the second round, which I don't know if he's going there or not, Joe Mixon or Josh Jacobs, where I draw the line is Austin Eckler. I think I might go Kittle over Eckler. I might.
That's the name
Miles
I was
Sanders-
thinking. I would take Eckler.
That was
Eckler.
close for me too, and I think I'd go
I'd
Eckler
gamble on
in
Eckler.
that situation.
That's fair.
I would take Drake. I would probably take Aaron Jones, although I wouldn't be
I'd
thrilled
take
about it.
Kittle over
I would
Aaron
take Kittle over
Jones.
Jones, yeah.
I'd take Jones, but I'd be angry that no other running backs were there.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right. Do you guys have any more to say on Kittle, or you want to talk about Ertz?
Nah.
If you want to talk about Ertz.
I don't even really have much to say about that. He's solid. He's their best receiving threat still. And
Yeah,
if Gregor
consistent.
is legit and or Jackson is healthy, that opens up space for him. Not that he had a bad year by any means.
All I'd say about Ertz is that the schedule opening up isn't the best the first couple games, but, I mean, target share is going to be there, so opportunities there.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that with him. I mean, we've seen him, like, he'll produce. It doesn't matter who it is. It's hard to take him out of the game.
It's true. All right. Now, number 3, we all have discrepancies. We'll have a discrepancy with those two. Alex and Brandon have Hayden Hurst at 3, while I have Evan Ingram. The only thing I have to say about Evan Ingram is you've seen him light up the field whenever he plays, and that's the thing, whenever he plays. He is practically a receiver at tight end, and I believe in him. If he's healthy, I believe in him. That's all I got to say about it.
Evan Ingram was one of my favorite tight ends last year. Like, for his average ADP, I mean, that's where I liked him. But after seeing him last year, he can't stay healthy, and that was my concern last year. And I mean, he fell, but at the same time, this wide receiver core coming into redrafts and stuff, I'll get a much better wide receiver late in drafts rather than spend my pick picking up Evan Ingram.
That's fair. I haven't seen Hayden Hurst put it together, obviously, yet, so I'm not going to bank on a person that I know can't do it. Well, I'm not going to bank on a person that I know has not done it yet, rather than put it on somebody who has done it who's often injured. I'd rather that. It's like Derrick Rose or, I don't know, some player coming into the league. It just, it's like an animal. Like, I'm just going to go with the proof proven production at first.
Well, I was actually, instead of you went with Evan Ingram because of that, I considered it with Tyler Higbee because he has shown that he can produce when the offense looks his way. And I believe the Rams are one of the highest passing teams in the NFL. They just lost Todd Gurley. I don't know if that's really a benefit or a negative in this situation because we don't know what – I mean, Todd Gurley wasn't looking as good as he had years past. But I think Tyler Higbee, he produced when he was had his name called. So, but I still went Hayden Hurst because I like the opportunity he has. Calvin Ridley didn't really gain much steam after after Austin Hooper went down with an injury. His targets per game was about the same, I believe. I mean, that'll have to be fact-checked, but I believe that's the case, and I think Hayden Hurst will come in and, I mean, get targets.
I don't like Hayden. I mean, I like Hayden Hurst more than Tyler Higbee. I don't like Tyler Higbee all that much just because we've seen 5-week sample size. That's practically what it was. 5-6 weeks of him doing great. Yeah, it was amazing. It was off the charts. We've also seen multiple players like in years past that have just blown up at the end of the year and then they retire or something. Like they just disappear. I don't like Tyler Higbee for that fact because, I mean, they have Gerald Everett right behind him. Sure, he just got paid. 4-year contract, I believe it was, something like that. But Gerald Everett was a second-round pick. And Sean McVay came out and said he wants to get him more involved. And, I mean, sure, some of it's coach speak, but I would like to bet on the second-round tight end who is more athletic than Tyler Higbee, who, I mean, they just seem like they believe in him a little more. Obviously, not financially, as they paid Tyler Higbee and they didn't pay Gerald Everett. But I still have Tyler Higbee at 5 just because, I mean, he did prove in 5 weeks last year. And if they do use him like they did in those last 5 weeks, I think that he can do something good. Alex, what do you got to say about Hayden Hurst or Tyler Higbee or Evan Ingram?
I lean Hurst over Ingram because I think he'll get the volume. I think there's untapped potential there because I do think the guy's pretty good. I think Mark Andrews just also happens to be really good. And, yeah, I mean, Ingram just scares me because, I mean, we're seeing with other sports, dudes are getting hurt a lot. And Ingram has a history of that. So that's scary. And, again, I just think Hurst is really talented. I think even if they're healthy, I think they could push each other. So,
Fair.
yeah, I'm going to go with funny, you always tell me I go production over potential, but not here. Taking the potential.
Because, I mean, potentially, Evan Ingram could be a top 3 tight end in the league. That's potential.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But my potential still
with
hasn't –
that.
I haven't weighed down a little bit. He's like my tight end 6 practically to me. So, I mean, obviously I'm not taking him at his all-time ceiling. I'm being reasonably positive. That's what I'm being with Evan Ingram at my tight end 3 in the NFC conference. Now.
I debated between the two of them myself.
Yeah. I can see it. I mean, I put Evan Ingram there as if he's healthy because if he's not healthy, he's definitely not beating Hayden Hurst. If he is healthy, I think it's still a toss-up between him and Hurst. But Evan Ingram's ceiling is a lot higher than Hayden Hurst, in my opinion. That's the only thing I'm doing. Now, TJ Hockinson across the board at 6.
Oh.
I don't like him. He's
him.
Just I'm not going to lie. He's bled because,
like he's there. He's just kind of there.
Exactly.
See, that's how I feel about him too, but I think it's just like recency bias because he blew up in the first game. And discussed this before, tight ends just generally historically don't do anything year one, so that bodes well for Hockinson. I just think like a bit of a letdown, if you will, after that first game. You're like, come on, man, you're not going to do anything else. Like,
no. I mean, mine somewhat has to do with that, but it also has to do with the fact that Stafford hasn't really maintained a top 12 tight end. Eric Ebron, whenever he had him, was a 14-13. Like, he was right there on fringe tight end.
I don't know if that's necessarily due to the tight ends or if it's just because they haven't had good tight ends. The only good tight end I can think of they've had is like Brandon Pettigrew, and it's not exactly like
Eric Ebron's pretty good.
Eric Ebron's bounced around teams though.
Yeah,
He's
because
had his
he's
struggles.
aged and he has had injuries.
But that he was there.
But when he was there, he was drafted there, so
He
he's
wasn't he a
younger.
first-round pick for them as well?
Yeah, I believe so.
First-round pick for them in 20.
I mean, he was obviously
15.
overdrafted.
No, yeah. They still use draft
I think
capital,
you
so
could
he used to
say that he was a bust there. I don't think that's unfair to say. Like, I don't really think he's. I don't think he was that good. He didn't fit very well there. I think he's turned it around a little bit. He's still not like the perfect tight end. He'll still drop some balls, and like I don't think he can block it all. But I mean, obviously talked about it last week. I'm a fan of his fantasy upside in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I think Hockinson could break that trend.
Hockinson has upside. I agree with that. Well, I don't know if you said that, but Hockinson definitely has upside this year in a high-passing offense over in Detroit where didn't somebody opt out? One of the wide receivers? Am I crazy?
What?
I wouldn't know off the top of my head. I didn't see anything about it, but I haven't really looked.
Where at?
Detroit.
Detroit? Oh, I don't.
Maybe
I don't remember.
incorrect.
I wouldn't know.
Probably incorrect. Doesn't matter anyway, but TJ Hockinson could possibly see decent volume. He's not going to be a top 5 tight end, I don't think, but top 10's in there. It's possible.
Possible, sure.
Let's talk about a player that none of us think has a top 5 tight end outcome in their range of outcomes with Rob Gronkowski.
Oh, I think it's within his range of outcomes. I just don't think it's likely.
I don't
think it's in the
I
range
don't
of
like
outcomes at all.
this. I don't like it.
No,
We've
I
got
like it,
two
absolutely.
young, in their prime receivers with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and you're going to throw the rock to Rob Gronkowski. I'd rather Tom Brady get acclimated with like O.J. Howard more so than Rob Gronkowski.
You seem to forget how much of a monster this guy was when he played.
I also seem to remember my fantasy season when I drafted him for the first time ever, and that was his last year in the NFL.
Yeah, when he probably didn't play at all, and the Patriots generally used him as a blocking tight end.
That's what happened.
I don't know how to feel about Gronkowski because, A, I don't know how much he's going to be on the field. I don't know if his body is going to hold up. And I don't know how in shape he is, but the guy's the greatest receiving tight end in his prime.
Right.
He was the most unstoppable tight end in NFL history. Exactly. I think that's the point. But to say that he can't be a top 5, right?
I think he is a deteriorating tight end, much like Mark Ingram's deteriorating running back. So
but Mark Ingram hasn't really not played a whole season because he was hurt for his basically whole career. But, Mark Ingram's been, top running back, fantasy speaking, for
he has been.
years. And that's not even in the same wheelhouse.
It's not.
Man, you seeing those pictures of Gronk? He looks in shape.
I don't care.
He looks thin to me.
He looks thinner than what he used to be.
He looks like Tom Brady playing tight end.
The guy I'm looking at right now does not look like Tom Brady.
I was joking. Now.
I'm looking at him right now. I don't know why he's wearing a crop top, but that does not look like – that looks like someone who I would not want to be in front of if he was running at me. I'm also not an NFL player.
I've not seen these pictures, so I can't speak on it, but I believe it would be a –
Do you see it?
Yeah.
Right. Do you see it?
That's fit. It's all about the angles.
It is all about the angles. But, again, I don't think that just shows that he's not fat.
That's fair. All right. Now, let's hop into number 8, okay? We all have – well, Brandon has Rob Gronkowski there. I don't – okay. Alex has Will Dissly. I did not even think about Will Dissly just because, I don't really think he's going to do all that. But explain your love for Will Dissly. It was pretty self-explanatory. Let's hear it.
Because he was doing pretty solid his rookie year. He was doing fantastic last year. The Seahawks are saying he's healthy and he passed his physical. So I don't know if you're going to see a diminished Will Disley because, like, an ACL and an Achilles tearing back-to-back years is nothing to sneeze at. But
He has robotic legs at this point.
that's why I'm putting him at 8. Well, those robotic legs need to freaking upgrade.
That's what I'm saying. After those injuries, he just had them replaced. That's why he kept
Well,
coming
unfortunately,
back so
he's
soon.
got another regular ACL and another human Achilles, so
That's unfortunate.
I hope
might
that doesn't
lose him
mean 2 more
more
seasons
times.
of – yeah, that's –
I love Will Disley when he played. Last year, actually, I was setting myself up with a great team and had some extra pieces, and I made a move to get Will Disley. And then 2 weeks later, he's out for the season.
This is true.
Still got second in that league, but that's besides the point. It's just the tight ends.
Just a tight end.
I mean, I got Jared Cook at 7 above Rob Gronkowski. I don't know if we mentioned that. I still like Jared Cook. Think he's a good red zone threat. And, I mean, he's produced year in and year out. Hasn't taken a year off. And I like that in my fantasy options.
Yeah, he doesn't like those years off for tight ends.
No.
I don't think you should either.
No.
it's probably beneficial
put in the work.
for Gronk.
Yeah, fair. All those brain problems. I have Irv Smith at 8, solely due to the fact that, I mean, I think he's supremely talented. Offense that he's in isn't the best, I mean, as far as ability to produce. But if he was on a team like, say, I don't know, put him on a decent offense, like a good offense, not a decent offense, a good one.
Also, if they use him more than Rudolph, that would be helpful.
That too.
Yeah.
I think they're going to end up using him a little bit differently this year. I mean, more as like a receiver.
I would
something
hope,
like that.
because Rudolph is a freaking dinosaur.
Yeah, he is. I think Irv Smith's outside there for sure. Yeah, that's all I got to say about Irv Smith. Well,
I considered him, but I'm going with Disley.
I guess that wraps it up.
Rudolph is only 30 years old.
Yeah, but have you watched him, though? He looks like a dinosaur.
Yeah,
He's not
like
wrong. He moves like
he
my
just runs
grandmother who
around
just had knee
like
surgery.
a dinosaur.
Just like this.
Yeah, well, yeah, dinosaurs don't got long arms.
Well, that's why he's
Well, they're-
dependable, because his hands are right here. They never move. As
Yeah.
long as you can hit his
He
hands,
makes
he'll
the
catch it.
perfect diamond every time.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, he can't move more than 5 yards downfield without having to stop for gas.
Another fair point. Well, I guess that wraps it up for the quarterbacks and tight ends of the NFC Conference.
Wrap it up,
Catch
ship
us.
it out. Let's
That's
move
next
on.
episode with the running backs we're going to do for the NFC. But like, comment, subscribe, share. Talk about if you like Russell Wilson or if you like Kyler Murray down in the comments. Never do, but if you want to, just go ahead and do
That
that.
would be an interesting commenting battle. It's a shame we don't have viewers.
Exactly. Now,
Bastards.
deuces.
Later.